Hi guys, welcome back to the Forgetful Scholar. Let's chat about books. So this week is, well, that took a turn. I'm so confused, and Medieval Meal. So the book I'm going to talk about is FM Contemporary, Protecting You, the Bailey Brothers, Book 1, Claire Kingsley. So that's a very nice cover, right? Okay, so this one I gave 3 stars. It was definitely middle ground for me, and the only reason it's not 4 stars is because of the author's choice where to end it. So this is a really cute, like, slice of life, best friends as kids, growing up, and then like grow up and, you know, best friends to lovers type of a story. Girl next door type of a thing. So the oldest Bailey brother, his name is Asher, and the girl next door and his childhood best friend is Grace. So both of them, you know, the typical, they've been in love forever, but they didn't want to ruin their friendship, so they never said anything. I found the writing very sort of effervescent. It was very easy to read. It was very easy to fall in, you know, into the storyline. It's definitely like slice of life. At least that's what I thought. Because this is, well, that took a turn because, you know, they say that like the Baileys and I think oh, I forgot the name of the rival. They're the huge rivalry in the town, like a feud, and the town is split down the middle between the Baileys and the Heffersons, I think, or the Hevers. I gotta take better notes. So anyway, and, you know, there was a little bit of a build-up before one of the guys from the rival family tried to assault Grace. And at first I was like, well, that was kind of, well, that took a turn, and that was kind of fast. But, you know, this is a short book. It's like 120 so on pages. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go with it. It's a short book. They're doing it quickly. Okay, the pacing has to be a little fast. All right, that's fine. Because I like Asher, I like Grace, I like all the brothers, I like Grace's family, I like how all the families are more complicated than the typical cookie cutter. I liked all of it. And I think I was watching too much LawTube, because at one point I was like, what in the Emily D. Baker is going on? I was like, what is going on? So, the rival town, one of the boys tries to assault Grace, basically. And Asher protects his, at that moment, fiance from these guys, and one of them accidentally dies. It's completely accidental. He didn't mean to kill him, you know, and the lawyer's like, well, you have to plead out manslaughter to 8 years in prison. I was like, oh, we're gonna get like a court drama. Fun. And I was also like, huh, the book's almost done. Okay. We don't get a court drama, and that's when I was like, what? And then Emily D. Baker's going on. He takes the plea deal and goes to prison for 8 years, and then the book stops. And I'm like, what the fucking hell? What the fucking hell? And I've never read this author before, so I don't know if that's how they typically do it. I was not best pleased. Let me tell you, I wasn't happy about that. And also I was like, wait a minute, it was accidental, and they could even argue that, like, oh, what's the term? I just thought of the term when I was putting on my makeup. I remember the term, and now it's gone. Justifiable, because what the heinous things the guy was trying to do, and how Asher didn't mean to, because Asher wanted to be a fire inspector, and he took jujitsu classes, and because of that, like, oh, well, because, you know jujitsu, so, you know, blah, blah. And I've heard that before, like, if you know martial arts and you get into a street scruffle, it's like kind of seen as you had a deadly weapon, but I thought that was only like black belts, and I don't even know if that's true, because these were definitely extenuating circumstances, and jiu-jitsu is more like acrobatics, like it's more of offensive, like it's more like defensive than offensive, you know, so I was like, dude, you got a lazy ass lawyer, get somebody else, you know, because it was just, also in a court jury, I don't think the fact that you protected your fiance from being raped, people are gonna be like, oh, fuck that guy, he's a killer. You know what I mean? So it just seemed a little, and then I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna have a big court drama for the next book. I don't particularly like that this author is splitting up into 2 books, especially how short the first one is, but maybe because, you know, the court thing is going to take a really long time. If they shove it all in one book, it would be like 600 to 700 pages. It's too much. So I was like, okay. The book ends, like, not really on a cliffhanger, like the author's notes in the beginning says, or in the end says, whatever. I was too annoyed to really pay attention where it was. It stops, like, right after he gets sentenced. So no court drama, you know, is going to happen. So, like, the only reason I, you know, didn't put this book higher on the star list, or the only reason I might not continue to read the series, is because it just felt like a really cash grabby decision to do that, because the third act conflict is done. So basically we don't get the resolution until the next book, and the resolution usually is like a chapter or 2. So I don't know, you know what I mean? It just, and this again has nothing to do with the characters, the character development, although how short this book is and now it's a 2-book thing. I am kind of annoyed at the pacing of, like, the trouble, because if you're doing this and you know you're doing this, then you need to space out the troubles more and make it more of a build-up. So some like, I think they wrote the whole thing and then just decided to slice it in half. And that's just a pet peeve of mine that kind of pisses me off. I know, my opinion, no one else's. I know Brandy Reed's loved the second book, I believe, in her video. And yes, she hasn't steered me wrong yet. So maybe I'll read the second one, but I think I'll have to stop being pissed off by this one. It might take a bit. I'm a petty bitch. It might take a while. And also, like, looking at this series of books, it seems like every book is a different brother. So the fact that, like, we're not gonna get the resolution on his story until his brother, like, it's just weird. I'm not a fan of that. Like, personally, I don't like that. It just feels gougy to me. So that's the only reason it's not higher on the scale for me. It has nothing to do with the writing, has nothing to do with the characters or the storyline. It has to do with, like, the author, or perhaps, like, the publisher's decision. You know, I don't know who chose to do that, but I didn't like that. I did not like that at all. I'm not happy with that. Okay, so second book. This one was interesting. I'm so confused. This is Fox Recruits a Mute Boy and Falls in Love by Jennifer Cody. An MM paranormal contemporary book. And this is 1.5. And this could have been completely my mistake. I couldn't find a book 1 of this. It went straight to book 2 on Kindle. I don't know why. This is definitely a prologue, and it's really, really short. Only 1 chapter. I was so effing confused. And I couldn't help comparing it to, like, the Parasol Protocol, where the hedgehog incident was a prologue. I think it was like 2 chapters or 3 chapters. And you didn't have to know anything about the Parasol Protocols to understand it. You got who the main characters were. You got what the world was like. You got the world rules spelled out for you pretty quickly. And then you enjoyed the story. There was no recap in this. I was just thrown into it. And I was like, when I first started, I was like, oh, it is a prologue. You know, I don't know if it's a good idea, but I can't find book 1. I only see book 2 here. It looks so unique, and the biography of it looks, the little summary of it looks so unique. Let me try it out. It's a prologue. They have to have some explanation in it. No, there was none. There was absolutely none. This is a 1 star because I was so effing confused. And, you know, not to brag, but I read a lot of books. And usually I could be like, oh, this was like that book that one time, so okay, I get what's going on here. You know, you can't help it. Your brain connects to past experiences or past reading, you know, in this case, reading. So, you know, you could be like, oh, it was like that one book that one time, so cool, cool, cool. I didn't even know what the second character's name was until like 60% into the book. And you know, in the middle of the narration, paragraphs or sentences, it would break and it would look like sort of like a text messagey kind of. Let me show you an example. Sort of like this. Oh, hold on. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Ah! Okay, here we go. So sort of like this. And I had no explanation for that, like if they were text messaging or if they were in each other's head, because there's no explanation for anything. And it was so I found it very jarring. And it's a shame because the main character, Fox, the writer has a really, like, a great talent to kind of make them seem trickstery and effervescent and charming, even though he's, like, killing people, but they're minions, so it's okay because he's a demon. And Romney is the second romantic lead, and I didn't know his name until 60% into the book. And yes, this is only 20 pages. It took about 20 minutes, but unfortunately, because I was so confused and I didn't know what was going on, it felt like it took days. And I was like, oh man, that's a shame, because, and what little I glimpsed from the world, it looked interesting. It looked very unique. So that was a big shame. I don't know if I'm going to try out the rest of the series. I mean, I gotta find book one if I am. I was just so confused, and I really hate to say that about what I assume is an independent writer, because like I have no idea what it takes to write a book. I have no idea what it takes to publish a book. You know, that's amazing. That is so amazing. But like like a page or two of just some recap or explanation would have been amazing, and then I would not have been so confused. And I would have been able to follow the story. And it's a shame because that probably would have gotten me really into the series if I just had a little bit, just a little bit explaining what was going on. Like a page or another chapter or something. I was just like, oh man, I am so fucking confused. Doesn't want to start. And then we're ending it on Joining by Johanna, Lindsey. And look at that step back. Very nice step back. So, this is a revisit, another one I read in high school that never really went back to it. And if you're wondering why I keep doing that, it's because I've been thinking of, not actually doing, but thinking of reorganizing the shelf behind me. And if you didn't know, the shelf goes from like floor to ceiling, wall to wall, so it's a lot of stuff. And I've been like, I should probably reorganize this. But then like I was like, oh, I haven't read this in a long time. I don't really remember what this is about. I'm going to read it right now. And completely get sidetracked. So, this is a 3-star, and this is The Medieval Meal. It is FM historical and takes place during the Middle Ages. And it has to do with Millicent and Wulfric. Now, Millicent and Wulfric are betrothed as children, and this is sort of like forced marriage, also enemies to lovers kind of a thing. So Millicent and Wulfric meet as children, and there's a huge misunderstanding happens, and they both physically hurt each other. And because of that, they hate each other. They never really talk to each other again, but they have to get married. Millicent has a twin sister who's very different. Millicent's more like tomboy. She loves hunting, things like that. She always has an animal with her. Things like that. I like her personality. I liked her character. I liked how different, yet how she's very strong, but she's not bitchy. I like the sister, how she is completely different, very shy, but has her own strength. I like that. I liked Wulfric. And I liked how the twin sister, even though she's like the more acceptable one, quote unquote, it wasn't her story, you know, and Wulfric eventually would never want to be with anybody but Millicent. It's really sweet. It's interesting because I think the author was trying out like some sprinklings of paranormal romance in there, and I liked how they did it because like the twins, like Millicent is abnormally really amazing with animals. Like she has a hawk that's always on her shoulder, a wolf that follows her around, like abnormally, you know, good with animals. And her twin sister is abnormally really proficient in knowing what other people's emotions are. So it's really interesting how they did it. It's not like in your face like, oh, she's an empath and she could communicate with animals. It's more like she could be an empath and she could communicate with animals, or they're just exceptionally good at these skills. So it's like if you like paranormal, you can kind of in your own head think that's a paranormal gift. But if you don't like paranormal, it's not. So I kind of liked how they did that. It was really easy and sprinkled on, and I just enjoyed how it was woven into the story but not overshadowed the story. This is an evil meal because I don't know why, but in this book, like, it had to be like 5 pages of just explaining the meal that they were eating. And it was an exceptionally important meal. I know at that time people shared platters and that was kind of important for the story to continue and the romance aspect of it, yeah. But like, just pages on pages of like the roasted meat and the cranberry. Like, it was very odd. I was kind of like, huh, that's a lot of pages dedicated to like the mashed, but like the roasted potatoes, but okay. Like, it just stuck out to me. I was like, huh. And I was gonna give this 4 stars because at the end of reading it, I was really like satisfied and really happy and like, because it's a wonderful ending. But I realized when I was making my notes, nothing really happens in it. Like, there's no big mystery. There's no grand like conspiracy. It's very fluffy, and it's just them hating each other's children and falling in love as adults because they have to marry. So they're in each other's sphere, and they realize, oh, they fall in love with the person they are now, and the misunderstanding from childhood is taken care of. So if you're looking for like a low stress, nice, easy, fluffy kind of book, this is definitely it. Yeah, like, why so many pages dedicated to the meal? I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, so that's it for this week. I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.